Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar for the University of London's Bachelor of Science in Marketing program with Coursera. My name is Ankit, and I'm an enrollment counselor here at Coursera. Joining me today is Maria, a fellow enrollment counselor who will be answering your questions in the Q&A box, and we will also have Naomi from Coursera Marketing helping behind the scenes. In today's webinar, we have a great session where we will be looking at the general overview of the bachelor's and the university, study format and the Coursera platform, admission requirements, application process, and tuition fees, and finally, degree recognition and graduation. We will end off with a Q&A session wherein we will answer your questions you may have. In the meantime, please feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A box below as we go along. Maria will be answering these questions, and as we end, I'll go through the remaining questions for you. In the next slide, we are going to watch a quick video about the BSc Marketing from University of London. So let's get started. Moving on to the next slide now. Now, I'm going to play a short video that explains if your ambition is a career in marketing, international business, or management. The University of London's BSc Marketing degree will help you achieve your goals, gain valuable insight into key marketing disciplines, learn how businesses work and flourish, and gain the skills to become an effective future business leader. So we may start the video now. Awesome. So just a quick disclaimer, I have added a few questions for you in between the slides, which I generally come across when I'm on a call with learners. I hope this benefits you all. So the first question is, can you tell me more about the university? The University of London was founded in 1836 and is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the UK. There are over 50,000 students in 180 plus countries studying 100 plus degrees, diplomas, and certificates. The program is led by academics at Royal Holloway's School of Business and Management, one of the 17 independent federation members of the University of London. Royal Holloway is ranked in the top 30 universities in the UK and the top 350 universities in the world for world-class research. This program has been designed to encourage intellectual curiosity. Whether you're currently working within the sector or seeking opportunities in a field, this program provides a foundation for understanding the diverse interdisciplinary nature of marketing and business administration. If you're looking to work for an international company or crave the opportunity to be mobile during your career, this will be an invaluable learning experience. You will walk away with an internationally recognized qualification and a global mindset as a result of studying across borders with colleagues or peers from around the world. There are two cohorts every year, April and October. The next starts on October 9th, 2023. Now let's look at how the Studying Online program works. Moving on to the next slides. So essentially, the bachelor's is comprised of 3 stages. The stage 1 is 4 compulsory modules. Foundations of Quantitative Methods for Sustainable Organization is your first module on stage 1. In this module, you'll be familiarized with quantitative studies and how they are and can be employed in management, economics, and for sustainable business. Some of the topics that would be covered in this would be data interpretation, political economy, natural resource economics theory, and etc. The second module that you'll be looking at is interpreting management, market, and consumption. In this module, you'll be introduced to marketing in the context of interpreting management as both an academic discipline and as a practice. The main topics again on this module will be related to brands and branding, marketing beyond profit, organization theory, and etc. The third module on your stage 1 would be related to information systems and organization studies. This module offers an introduction to information system and how it is implemented in the organizations. The main topics covered in this module will be related to managing and managers, information systems and employability, the e-business and collaboration, etc. International business and accounting would be your last module on stage 1. In this, you will be covering a lot of topics on topics like foreign direct investments, trade flows and international trade theory, analyzing and interpreting financial statements. Moving on to the next slide and your stage 2. It will again be comprised of 4 compulsory modules. First module would be employability and human resource management. This module introduces career development and human resource management. Main topics covered would be skills and skill development, using social network in your job and internship hunt, networking, postgraduate study, and your career service and beyond. Second module on stage 2 would be strategic management and accounting. This module will cover topics like merger, acquisitions, and alliances, cost volume profit analysis, strategic approaches to performance management. The third module will be operations management and marketing strategy, design of operations network, operations strategy, inventory planning and control are going to be covered under this module particularly. The fourth and the final module on your stage 2 would be marketing research and digital consumer culture. It will mainly cover or examine marketing research and the way digital marketing works. The main few topics it will cover would be related to secondary data nature and sources, planning research, defining problem, brief, and proposal. Now, moving on to the final stage or the stage 3. Here you would come across 3 compulsory modules and 3 optional modules, among which you'd have to choose one. So the 3 compulsory module would be integrating management, business, leadership, and innovation would be your first module. This module draws together what you've learned over the entire program, and the main topics covered in this module will be related to innovation as a core business process, implications of and for strategic management, leadership and innovation failure. The second module that will be covered in stage 3 is contemporary issues in consumer behavior and global marketing. This module develops a critical understanding of consumer behavior and global marketing And the few of the main topics covered in this module will be related to global orchestration of consumer behavior, attitude, beliefs, and motivation, perception, consumer choice, and consumer rationality. The third and the final compulsory module on stage 3 is brands, branding, and advertising. This module develops a critical understanding of branding and will provide you with a strategic perspective on contemporary marketing communication. The final or the optional stage 3 modules that you'll be getting as an option would be, moving on to the next slide. So there are 3 optional modules on stage 3, as I mentioned. The first one is International Human Resource Management. This module examines practical examples and the latest research in human resource management. Few of the main topics covered in this would be Introduction to International Human Resource Management, International Staffing Policy in MNCs or multinational corporations, Culture, and IHRM. The second module on this would be the Individual at Work and Globalization. You will gain an overview of contemporary subjects of interest in the field of organizational behavior and examine the impact of globalization on work. The third and the final module for you on the optional stage 3 would be Emerging Markets and Asia Pacific Business. This module examines generally emerging markets, commercial realities, and national cultures within the context of a global economy. That's it about the curriculum of the program. Now, moving on to the next slide. Let's look at another quick question. I haven't taken any online courses with Coursera before. Can you help me understand how it works? I'm sure most of you already have some experience with Coursera, but for those who do not worry. It is very easy to figure out. I'll walk you through the main points and feel free to ask more questions about this during our live Q&A. Bachelor's in Marketing program is delivered entirely online through Coursera. You will be able to access all the materials needed for your studies at any time as long as you have internet connection. This means the most of the time you can study at your own pace. Each module is studied over 22 weeks, and one module requires an average of 10 to 12 hours of directed learning per week. Modules run once a year, and reset opportunities will also be available. You can choose how many modules to study in each session, up to a maximum of 2 new modules. The time commitment will vary from student to student, but as a guide, you should allow 300 hours for each module to be studied throughout a 22-week study session. With 2 modules per session, you will be able to complete the degree in 3 years. This means you will be studying for 60 credits each session. That equates to approximately 600 hours over the 22 weeks of each session you'll need to dedicate for 2 modules, around 24 to 30 hours per week to study. You'll also need to regularly check your university student portal. The student portal is a gateway to all your additional learning resources. There you will find most up-to-date information, including registration dates, exam dates, as well as wonderful resources to support your development as well-being material, career development, exercises, and student support services. Now, moving on to the next slide. To help you better understand how the learning process works on Coursera platform, let me walk you through a sample course from the University of London. Naomi has already started the video. As you can see on the screen, the program is designed to fit learners' personal schedules, allowing them to study online at their own pace and vary their course load every term. Learners can access their courses from anywhere by downloading them to their mobile device and study offline whenever and wherever they choose. There is no live attendance required for this program. So once you log into Coursera platform, you will see the courses you have registered for on your dashboard. And you will also notice that the coursework is broken down into weeks. Each week will have pre-recorded video lectures, quizzes, and interactive activities. Learners watch pre-recorded video lectures and complete quizzes and assignments. There is a final exam at the end of the module. All coursework is self-paced except for midterms and the final exams. Learners can find deadlines in the course syllabus itself. Learners can find their exam timetable in the student portal. The university provides learners with all of the resources and study materials required to complete the program successfully, including the essential reading for each module. Learners will access these resources through the virtual learning environment and Coursera. Students collaborate on group projects using Zoom and Slack. Slack is one of the cloud-based instant messaging systems which you'll use to collaborate with your peers. Online tutors will be there to hold live tutorial webinars and provide support and guidance throughout each study session. Online student relationship managers will also be there to guide you through your learning journey. Now, student guide. The student guide provides information which is common to all students and gives information about matters of importance from the start of a student's relationship with the University of London through their graduation. There will also be online library for you, which will provide you with a range of full-text multidisciplinary databases where journal articles, ebooks, and reports can be found. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, let's look how assessments for this program work. So the minimum duration of this program is 3 years, which is a standard length of a bachelor's degree in the UK. But since this program or the degree is flexible, you can vary your workload. The university gives you up to 6 years to complete all the required modules at your own pace. You will have hard deadlines for some assessments and final exams, which will be highlighted in a syllabus you receive. Here, I would also like to mention that all assessments are online. Each module of the marketing program is assessed by 2 elements of assessment. The first one comprises of 4 multiple choice question tests taken at 5 weekly intervals throughout each 22-week study session. They will contribute 30% towards your final grade. The remaining 70% of your grade, however, will come from the assessment element number 2, which is a 3,000-word final online examination held at the end of each session. That's around September and March. Also, some modules have group work where you need to work asynchronously with your peers, so please plan for that as well. You will receive plenty of support within this program. The virtual learning environment on Coursera platform is where you'll find lessons, activities, assignments, and additional study resources. You will also have an opportunity to join online tutorials with the University of London professors, who will provide you with support and guidance throughout each study session. These tutorials are not mandatory to attend, but I'd highly recommend or encourage you to do so. Each tutor has their own group of students to make sure you feel fully supported in this program. For any non-academic inquiries, such as course advising, you can reach out to your online student support team, who will guide and advise you, helping you fit your studies around your work and family commitments. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Hopefully, you now have a clear understanding of what studying online is like. Now, let's look into general admission requirements and the documents you need to submit with your application. Moving on to the next slide now. In order to qualify for application, you must be of age 17 or older on the registration deadline date, which is September 25th. The University of London accepts qualification from all over the world. I encourage you to use the link that Maria is now going to share in the chat to review your country's qualifications. Please note that the University of London does accept many awards that are not listed on the website, such as non-listed school qualification, diplomas, and professional awards. Applications are now open, and the deadline for the application is September 11th. So make sure to do this as soon as possible. It can take the university up to 15 business days to process your application. The application fee for 2023 cohort is £60 only. To complete your application, you will need a scanned copy of your personal identification. It can either be your birth certificate, passport, national identification card, or naturalization certificate. Scanned copy of your official academic transcripts, translated copies if needed. It can be signed and stamped by any official translator. You'd also need to provide an evidence of English proficiency if English is not your first language. Now, Maria is going to drop in chat the requirements for the English proficiency for this program. Along with all of this, you will also need to provide a supporting statement describing why you want to take this program. This will be your opportunity to showcase to the University of London why you wish to do this program. Please give your reasons. You should include details about your education, work experience, and current responsibilities, which are relevant to this application. It is recommended that you write between 100 to 250 words. Lastly, if you like your employment to be considered as part of your application, you may also upload your CV or your resume, but that's completely optional and up to you. Now, moving on to the next slide. This is how the application process looks like. First of all, you're all welcome to book a meeting with us to discuss your application program and all the documents in more detail. When you are ready to start your application, please go to the Coursera website and click on a blue Apply Now button, as you can see on the screen, which will now take you to the University of London's application page. The first question you will be asked when you start your application is whether you want to apply for standard or performance-based entry. To choose standard entry, to understand which route is best for you, make sure to check your country requirements by following the link we shared in the chat box. If you satisfy those requirements, choose standard entry. Otherwise, choose performance-based entry. The difference between them is that if you get accepted into the program through performance-based admission, you will need to complete one module with a weighted average of 40% or above before progressing onto the rest of the program. The application itself is pretty straightforward. Please prepare all the documents we spoke about in advance, and then it should not take you more than 30 minutes to complete your application. Make sure to submit your application before September 11th. After submission, please check your email box regularly, as the University of London might ask for some additional information. You will then receive an email with their decision and further instructions. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the application, please feel free to reach out to our enrollment services team at any stage of your application process. We will be now sharing a link to book a meeting with an enrollment counselor towards the end of this webinar. Moving on to the next slide. Third and the final question that I get a lot is, what are the next steps after application is accepted? Now, let's look at how we can resolve that question. So for those who have already been accepted, the next step is registration. When you're ready to register for your modules, for which the deadline is September 25th, log into your student portal using the login details the university emailed to you. Once you've logged into your student portal, click the Register Now button, and you'll be able to see which modules are offered in this session, and you can go ahead and register. You can study up to 2 new modules per session. In addition to this, you can reset assessments or repeat modules if necessary. It is strongly recommended for you to take Foundations of Quantitative Methods for Sustainable Organizations and Interpreting Management, Market, and Consumption during your first term. To complete your registration, you need to pay for your modules. The total cost of the program depends on your location. Maria will now share a link with the country bands in the chat box, so you can check for yourself. If your country is in Band A, you need to pay £14,088. And for Band B, you will need to pay £18,868. Also, I would like you to know that you don't have to pay the fees straight away. You can pay as you go for each module you take. So the fees will be divided between the years of your studies. After you've registered and paid for your modules, you'll receive an invite to your university email address to link your Coursera account to the degree program. There you'll see an orientation course that you'll need to complete before classes begin. This course covers everything you need to know to start program and to make the best use of your studies step by step. Go over program policies, how to navigate Coursera, communication channels to seek help, and how to connect with other students. You should allow up to 6 hours to complete this course. Once you've completed that, you'll receive access to your modules, and when the teaching session begins on October 9th, you will have access to all your study materials. Now, let's proceed on to the next slide. As you can see, the indicator totals for this program is £14,088 to £18,868, depending upon your geographical location, whether you're in Band A or Band B countries. Please note, the tuition is based on where you're living currently and not based on your nationality. These totals include the application fee, and the average annual fee increases and assume that a student completes the qualification within the minimum time without resets or APL. On average, the University of London's fee incur a 5% increase year-on-year basis. Student can also pay as you go, pay per module for 2023-2024. Please note that the full program fee is not available to students residing in the UK who access student loans company funding. These students should instead pay by module. Now, let's proceed on to the next slide. Now, let's talk about your degree itself and your possible career paths in more detail. BSc Marketing is standard bachelor's degree in the UK. The University of London holds the standards of this program to the same expectations as any other UK marketing degree. The marketing level and objectives are aligned with UK benchmarks. Your degree certificate will not mention Coursera or the fact that it was completed online. The University of London's understanding is that a UK degree is typically accepted for entering a master's program worldwide. But since some countries' education systems are structured differently, I'd recommend contacting the admissions department or specific university you are interested in to see what requirements they have and if there's a grade you need to achieve. If you require any documents for your application, you can contact the university for assistance. Moving on to the next slide. There are many different possibilities of careers for you upon graduation. You can see some example roles in this slide, but generally, with credentials from a globally recognized institution, which the University of London is, you will discover in-demand marketing opportunities at international companies and will be able to fit easily into roles that collaborate across borders. After studying with learners around the world within this program, you will cultivate a global mindset, which will allow you to bring your new expertise to business sectors everywhere. Just to give you an idea, on-campus graduates from Royal Holloway's School of Business and Management have gone on to work with various international companies, including Versace, Barclays, Nissan, Deloitte, and Xerox. As a graduate of this program, you will be able to gain an understanding of the organization, its functions, and the context of business, leading to a multifaceted appreciation of marketing and other management disciplines. Understand contemporary perspectives on marketing as a discipline and its implications for firms, industries, and society. Learn the strategic and operational facets of marketing set within the context of globalization and its implications for the marketing manager and consumerism. Gain the ability to analyze real life problems facing actual businesses and evaluate the effectiveness and limitations of different marketing and management decisions and solutions. Upon your graduation, you'll also become part of university's alumni network, which unites all of the University of London alumni worldwide. It will provide you with some great networking opportunities. For career support, the university works closely with the University of London Career Service, a university service, to offer a range of fantastic online resources to maximize your experience. Resources including video tutorials on interview preparation, technical resume writing, building your LinkedIn, and personal branding. They also host career webinars twice a week throughout the year, so I highly encourage you to attend at least one of those. Now it's time for our Q&A. If you have some additional questions about the program or application process, please put them in the Q&A box. We'll give you all a few seconds to submit your questions. Great. So here I have a very interesting question that I can see on the screen. It says, what will appear on my degree certificate? Your certificate will show that you have successfully completed the Bachelor of Science in Marketing. It will also show that the awarding body is the University of London with academic direction provided by Royal Holloway, University of London. Let's look at a few other questions. Here's another good question that I often come across. Can I transfer some credits from my prior studies? How can I do that? Yes, UL or the University of London recognizes credits from all universities worldwide. In the most cases, it is not automatic, and you will need to apply for recognition of prior learning. There's a non-refundable fee of £125 for each module. Another good question, which is quite normal, and I get that a lot from all of the students. Is there a graduation? Yes, obviously, students who successfully complete the program will be invited to the university's annual graduation ceremony in London. When learners graduate from the University of London, they'll receive two important documents by mail, final diploma and diploma supplement. Another common question that I generally come across is, why are there two universities, University of London and Royal Holloway? University of London is the administrative and degree awarding body. It has 17 independent member institutions or federation members, and Royal Holloway is one of them. Royal Holloway designs the curriculum for the students to study. Another good question that I have come across on the Q&A box is, how would you apply for a scholarship? Well, Maria has already provided that for you in the chat box. So you can use the link to go over to the University of London's page and look at the different options for the scholarship available from the university. Let's look at a few other questions before we get off. Yeah, so another one is, do students have access to on-campus facilities? Hi there. If you happen to be in London, you can use Royal Holloway's library. If you wish to do so, you should contact Royal Holloway's library services directly for more information. Another question that has just popped up on the Q&A box is, how long to complete this degree? So to answer that question, the minimum time frame provided by the university is 3 years. And you can also take the program in part-time load and complete the program in a maximum of 6 years time frame. I hope that helps. Let's move on to the next question. What is the fee structure? Can I pay in installments? So you don't need to pay upfront for the whole degree. Instead, you pay as you go. Each time you register for a module, you'll pay the tuition just for that module. So it becomes convenient as we roll into the program module by module. Let's look at a few other questions before we end today's webinar. Yeah, so this one is a good question, which is related to the time commitment required. It says, what is the time commitment for this program? So you can expect to commit somewhere between 10 to 12 hours per week for one module that needs to be studied within a 22-week session. In order to complete this degree, in 3 years, you need to take 2 modules per session. Right. So we are right at time. Here you can find some key dates. If we just skip on to the next slide. We'll send out the recording for this webinar to you in a follow-up email, and you can schedule an appointment there. For any further questions, feel free to schedule a call with me. I'll provide the link in the chat box for you to get in touch with me. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar. And once again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.